Today we are breaking down one of the most chilling threats to our cities and civilians – Russian ballistic missiles. How many does the Kremlin have left? Is it really running out? And how deadly are these new shipments from North Korea likely to be? I'm Roman Smoler, and in this episode we'll uncover the facts behind the headlines. We'll look at the real number and technology and what Ukraine is doing to defend itself. If you want the truth about this war, make sure to subscribe so you never miss our new reports. And please like this video to help Ukrainian voices reach the world. Let's dive in. In recent weeks, Russia has again sharply increased its ballistic missile attacks on Ukraine. In June and July alone, our military counted more than 50 launches, including Iskanders and even North Korean missiles. The targets are clear: energy, large cities, everything to break our resistance and intimidate civilians. This wave of attacks has forced the West to act quickly. NATO and the United States announced emergency assistance, including the shipment of additional missiles for the Patriot system. And this happened not without political pressure. After the new shelling, US President Donald Trump spoke publicly and announced the resumption of military assistance through NATO, sending a strong warning to the Kremlin.
He oftentimes he said, no, he wants peace. And I think he does. I hope he does. We're going to find out soon. And it could be before the 50 days.
According to the Ukrainian Intelligence Directorate, as of early summer, Russia had about 300 ballistic missiles in its arsenal. This figure includes various types of short and medium-range missiles, with the Iskander-M playing a major role with a range of about 500 kilometers. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Russia has been actively using up its arsenal. In the autumn of 2022, intelligence estimated that Russia had more than 800 ballistic missiles. Today, the number has almost decreased by 3 times. But it is still a huge reserve. Why? Because ballistic missiles are not a massive munition for everyday use, but a means of intimidation, strategic escalation, and targeted strikes on the most important objects. A ballistic missile differs from a cruise missile in that it flies along a hovering trajectory for a significant part of its flight, in fact in the atmosphere and on the edge of space. It has a tremendous speed and can often maneuver, changing course in the final phase. This seriously complicates the work of air defense. It is not only necessary to detect the target, but also to aim the interceptor missile at the exact point of contact in a very short time frame. For example, Patriot or SAM-T are capable of shooting down ballistic targets, but this is a very expensive and intensive operation. Each launch costs millions of dollars. As a result of sanctions and losses, Russia cannot quickly resume production of precision weapons. Even with the restoration of factories, the rate of production is a few dozen Iskanders a year. So Moscow began to negotiate with other countries. The most important partner now is the North Korea. According to the data from the United States and South Korea, Pyongyang has agreed to supply Russia with short-range missiles of the KN-23 type. This is actually a copy of the Iskander with similar trajectory and range of up to 500 kilometers. According to Western intelligence, Russia has already received dozens of North Korean missiles and used some of them against Ukraine in 2024. According to various estimates, Russia could potentially agree to supply from 100 to 500 missiles in several batches. This does not mean a simultaneous transfer of the entire quantity, but even 100 additional missiles is a major threat to Ukrainian air defense. Well, let's talk frankly about the consequences for Ukraine. Russian ballistic missiles are not just another type of weapon in their arsenal. They are a tool of intimidation, terror, and psychological pressure. First and foremost, their massive strikes on critical infrastructure, power plants, transportation hubs, military depots. The enemy is trying to paralyze supplies and undermine our economy. The second is targeted attacks on military objects. Ballistic missiles make it possible to hit command centers, airfields, and fortified facilities in an attempt to disrupt our offensive or defensive operations. Third is the exhaustion of our air defense. Each interceptor launch costs hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Each attack forces us to use up our limited stockpile of expensive missiles. And fourth, it is a blow to the morale of the civilian population. Russia chooses symbolic dates and nights when people are at home. They want to create a sense of constant danger and fear. So even a few hundred additional missiles is a huge challenge for Ukraine and a serious threat to our cities and people. Of course, there is an answer to this. Ukraine has already significantly strengthened its air defense since 2022. The most important element is the Patriot system. They are specially designed to intercept ballistic missiles. Their range and accuracy make it possible to destroy even fast-maneuvering targets. We have also received European SAM-T systems from our allies, which also have the ability to combat ballistic targets. But there is an important detail here. We have a limited number of such systems. To effectively cover all major cities and strategic facilities, we need more of them. Other systems such as NASAMS and IRIS-T work well against cruise missiles and drones, but have limited capabilities against ballistic missiles. Another critical point is the stockpile of interceptor missiles. A Patriot launch can cost several $million. Without constant supplies from our partners, we will not be able to maintain this intensity of defense for long. That is why the issue of strengthening air defense is not a one-time aid, but a long-term strategy. This is a common cause of Ukraine and our allies.
Of course, the US will put on its stockpiles necessary to defend this country. That's absolutely clear. But it will mean that Ukraine can get its hands on really massive numbers of military equipment.
Russia cannot afford to stop the missile terror. This is its main tactic of pressure on Ukraine and its allies. The falling stocks of its own ballistic missiles have forced Moscow to look to North Korea for them. Deliveries of dozens of hundreds of KN-23 would mean an extension of the war on the missile front. Ukraine will be forced to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on interception. Friends, we need to know the truth about the threats Ukraine is fighting. Please support our channel to stay informed and help the information defense of Ukraine. Subscribe, share this video with your friends, write your opinion in the comments. Be brave like Ukraine. See you soon.